All right, let's try that again. Let me see. I don't know what was going on. Let's see. Let me do my testy thing. Because I have not a clue. All right, let me see now. Do I still sound like a mouse? Let me see. Let me see what. Hey y'all, I'm back here again. Let me do this. Let me do this. I'll do this. Move. Okay. How does it sound now? What the hell? I just no, no. All right. I don't know what's going on. It was like I had a little Mickey Mouse up in my throat. But I think I don't know. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, what was I saying? Oh, so I was saying I wanted to get into some stuff because I have been indulging in um this trial, this Young Thug trial today. So hold on, I'm gonna do something really. I'm gonna do something on here, and then you let me know if the voice changes. But I missed y'all. How are y'all doing? I was telling my homegirl, because y'all know I do like 4 or 5 shows. I do like 5 different shows. So I was telling my homegirl, I was like, sometimes because I'm recording like almost every day of the week, I was like, I'm getting talked out, you know? And who thought that I would have run out of words? Huh? So I'm excited to that. I'm excited for that. I'm excited about that. That show will be launching soon. I'm excited for that. Okay. So yeah, I don't sound like Mickey Mouse no more. That show will be launching soon. Next month, actually. It launches next month. But in the meantime, in between time, you can download the app. Do I feel like doing all that today? Do I feel like giving you all that information today, or should am I just gonna post it on my page? Um, because you can also, if you don't have Roku or Amazon Fire Stick TV, you can download the app and watch it on your phone. So I'm excited about being a part of that network and all the great things we are doing on that network. All right, let me do one last thing. I gotta share it to the group because did y'all know? So some of y'all don't know. Facebook changed the settings, so now you can't share streams into Facebook groups no more. Did y'all know that? Ain't they petty? This is why I'm working on getting my stuff off of these platforms. Period. All in general. My job is never done. How was y'all week though? Tell me how y'all week is while I do this. And shout outs to Benita. Benita been doing the thing, sharing everything, all of that. And the moderator of the year award goes to Benita. You can't get on the live on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. But it's a couple things. All right, so I think we're definitely gonna have we was doing like a little talking. We're definitely gonna do a citizens arrest tonight. We have a few people that are going to be under citizens arrest, and you guys let me know if you agree with the citizens arrest. Y'all know how we do it. We've been voting on it, voting on the people who need to be locked up. The justice system is failing us, so we're taking it amongst ourselves here for our citizens arrest. So I'm appreciative to that. Shout outs to everybody on YouTube. How y'all doing? Okay, you can hear me now. All right, cool. So what y'all want to get into first? What are we getting into first? Okay, so, and I want to give y'all like a little educational moment too. So before we did, because it's Juneteenth, y'all can't see my whole little thing, but I got on my little red, green, black whole little thing right there, right? So did you guys know that there is a historical plantation that is actually here in Baltimore, Maryland? Did you guys know that? So I wanted to get into that because I definitely love that plantation and all of that. Hey, Mr. Mike, how you doing? Sure, I'm so glad you're able to tune in all the way from Vegas. Shout outs to you, Mr. Mike in the building. Mr. Mike in the building. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of like educational. So if any of y'all grew up in like Perkins, Flag, I think what they call it like Target City or something. All the ones. What is that? What is that? Perkins, Douglas Homes, and LaTrobe, like all of that, right? So I feel like this is an educational moment for everybody. So let me know in the chat if you guys know about that. Do y'all guys know? And I can pull up. And matter of fact, I'm gonna show it and share it with y'all. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that we have a historic plantation here? It's right in the Towson area, and I love that place. Me and one of my friends stumbled across it some years ago, more than 15 years ago. We stumbled across it. I had gotten into a vehicle accident, and we was waiting for Enterprise to give me my car. Had my car ready for me to come pick it up. We were driving around. So fun fact for me, I enjoy riding around looking at homes. I don't know, it's just so peaceful, it's inspiring, and it's just so dope. So I like to do that. Model homes, go inside of them and do all of those things. In order to do some things, to get some things that you want, you got to go sometimes, step into it, feel it, appreciate it, and set the vibe out into the world. So I love that. That's like a simple little pleasure of mine, right? So it is important too for the people in Baltimore County. I used to know all about that. I used to know all that stuff, but I don't know much now. Okay, well, guess what? I'm going to fill you in on some of it today. So it's called the Hamptons, and it's actually a historic site. So when me and my friend was riding around, looking at houses one day, I swear, from the way that it looked, we were just riding down the street, and he laughed, and we seen it. Like the street was like down here, and the house looked like it was like sitting up on a hill. And he was like, damn, that looked like a plantation. And I was like, yeah, it was a big old cast. We was like, how do we get over there? Because we didn't know how to get over there because the roads are really, really tricky because we didn't know that this place existed. So we ended up driving over there, right? And getting up there and looking, and it was like, oh, shoot. It was a plantation, and that was the big house. So we didn't know that. And it was a beautiful home. Like, I'm gonna show y'all the pictures. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. We ended up being there. We ended up, I think, leaving and coming back because I was like, let's go through the whole vibe, right? So that's what we did. We went there. We had got some history in the process. It was cool. So just on a random day, waiting for my rental car, we stumbled across a historic national site. They had turned it into a national park and learned that every year during like October and fall and like Halloween, they would like decorate it up really, really pretty. And people would go there. They would have like little harvest fairs there or something like that. It's completely free. So if you are worrying about that, it's free. I recommend you to go. That was like my first time because I didn't know that it was here. Now, I do remember being a little girl when my mother always driving on the highway, and I would always see like the Hampton, but I never knew what it was. And so here it is, like I said, like 15 years ago, saw what it was. So the Hamptons was owned by the Grantley family. Is y'all keeping up? So whenever you in Baltimore County, White Marsh, Rosedale, like Ebenezer. Do y'all remember? Even on the west side, like, do y'all know Grantley Street on the west side? Have you heard of Grantley Street? Have y'all ever heard of Ridge Road? Tell me what y'all, so I can see what we know. Have y'all heard of those streets? Well, I get y'all these pictures. So I say, before I get into my mess, this is what I wanted. I wanted to embrace this today. Hey, CJ, you just joining us. We're talking, well, right now we having now, Black History moment. And then we're going to get into these trials, and I think that would be, you would probably have something to say about that too. Lonely Woods as well. I've never heard of Lonely Woods, but I know like the Grantley is on the west side, and then some Grantley roads out in the county, Ridge Road, and all of that. Hi, Candace. This is Marlo. Hi, Candace. This is Marlo. Hey, Nugget. Hi, Nugget. Oh, y'all gotta give Nugget some hearts, y'all. Nugget then jumped off the bouncy trampoline at camp yesterday and twisted his ankle, so he has a little baby boot on his foot. Hey, Nugget, Nugget, man. Nugget. You stinking man feel better? They gonna say hi to you. Y'all gotta say get well soon, Nugget. Y'all gotta put that in the comments. I don't play about my Nugget. Come on now, drop it. I need to be seeing some get well soon, Nugget. Okay, you said I rode through those streets before. Okay. Mr. Mike said, I have heard of those streets, and they are all integrated by some form of fashion related. Right. Oh, they said, oh, Nugget, honey, Nugget. Yeah, we got to tell Nugget, get well. Oh, they saying, get well soon, little Nugget. Yes, honey, Nugget. Hey, little brother, what's going on? Yeah, he twisted his ankle, yo. He got a little baby boot. All right, so y'all heard of those streets. So this is important because this family, right? This family owned everything. So the slaves, I'm gonna show y'all the pictures. Let me put the pictures up. Okay, because y'all saying y'all heard of these places. So the slaves, yes, Perry Hall. Big on Perry Hall. Like where Perry Hall High School is, where Honey go and all that. Very, very big. Very big. All the blacks went to schools in the counties. If your grandparents are still here and from the county, ask them about it, right? So the slaves that was on the Grantley plantation, let me pull up this Grantley plantation for y'all. So the Grantley family, slaves are the ones that built all the projects down East Baltimore because that's where they lived. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that. So the Grantley family slaves out freaking Towson, they built Perkins, LaTrobe, Douglas homes. Because I think he owned like 43,000 acres of land or something. Let me see. I'm about to show y'all. I'm trying to get the pictures. Basically, I'm taking y'all on a tour of it. But did y'all know that existed here? Did y'all know that existed? All right, hold on. The big house. Is this the big house? Slavery plantations in Maryland. No, I want the Maryland. And you can go and walk. So they actually have their slave quarters and everything there. And so, like I said, this lady, she would perform and tell you the story and had you play like not even really a game, but ask you, what would you take with you on slavery? Like if you were running to be free, what would you take? And it had the little things. First of all, the more bell things that used to be going around the neck, them things was heavy. Yet you always wonder who built those homes, girl. All right, I'm about to show you. So, Yeah, so his slaves, the Grantley Plantation girl, they built, let me share the screen. They built these homes, girl. Let's see. And also, don't forget, Douglas was an enslaved child, and I believe he worked at the ship chalks. Point. Really? See, look, we all see, all of us is getting some jewels tonight. Okay, I wonder, Mr. Mike, I wonder if he lived like in like that area of where the Grantley family built, right? And let me tell you this. I feel like some things we take for granted, right? Because of the simple fact that yo, the slaves from out Towson, from this plantation used to walk from downtown all the way out Towson just to go to work. Oh my God. So it was a very good, it's a very good settings. No, I want to share my screen. It was a very good educational thing I learned here. Share. It was really good, right? So let me see. I want to go here. We're going to add this to the stage. Okay. So I want to make it bigger. Like, how do I make this bigger? Hold on. Let me see. Let me take me out for a second. Let's do this one. Okay. This is what I've done best I can do. All right. So, no, let me do here. So this is the house. I want to make it bigger. But yes, no, they walked. Let me see how I can make it bigger. Let's make it bigger. Yes, they walked from Towson to down the hill, okay? So, what I like about these is, so this is how it looks in the inside. Can y'all see that? I wonder how I can make it bigger. Let me knock me all the way out the way so y'all can see it. Okay. This is one, mind you, it was like 40 million rooms in this mansion. It's a huge mansion. And this is it's a whole nother side as well, but this is the side that Madam Grantley used for entertainment. When she would entertain her guests, she would do this, right? And all of this furniture, and what I loved about it is everything that's in here that you see, it's not remade, it's not fake. They have everything in here that was here from the original, like 1800s. So all of that. So this is why I think that everybody should kind of like go and look at this place. All of this stuff, these are the real pictures. And they actually have their own family graveyard as well. So the back of the garden is very pretty. I think if you decide to do like a photo shoot or something, it's very, very nice. This is the Grantley, y'all. This is the big boss. This is Mr. Grantley. This is him. He owned everything and everybody. This was like his grandfather or something to somebody, because his wife or something, they were like related. They were like sister and brother, and she ended up marrying like the uncle or something. Like, it's weird. They be doing some weird stuff. So it's set up like this. This is one of their dining room areas. This is another dining room area. So the wife, when the husband died, which was Grantley, she ended up marrying this man right here. She ended up marrying this man. But all of this furniture is the same. Like when you go, it's like dusty. It was just really remarkable. This is it. I actually have pictures sitting on these steps, me and my best friend. So this is the front of the house. This is the kitchen side, where it's a whole big building right here, right? And when you will go through here, it's like the kitchen and where the slaves would go in and out of, the ones that cooked, right? So this is not even half of the backyard. And you know what's funny? Y'all tell me, you know it's other homes that are there, right? It's other homes that people. Could you live next to a plantation? I want to know. Could you guys do it? Could you live next to a plantation? I mean, and it's people that are like neighbors. Literally, I'm moving that real quick because mom about to bring her face back. Because y'all listen, it is like neighbors to the back of this. And I was like, oh my goodness. Let me hide this. I couldn't do it. I don't know. I don't know. And you know, and it's open. So some people be walking their dogs and stuff like that. So over here, this is all the way in the back, y'all. I'm telling you, when I tell you that this plantation, please go see this plantation if you're here. When I tell you that this plantation is huge, it is huge. Huge. So I'm giving y'all a little Black History moment. This is why we need Black History back in school. Our children will never know this information without us telling them. Yeah, and then you know what I found, and then you know what I found to be good too, which I kind of had a little, not like a prideful moment, but I felt like it was good because my mother didn't even know about this. And she's, you know, she older than me. She didn't even know. And when I told her, I was telling her about it like how I was telling y'all. I took her there a couple years ago, and she was like, "No, I didn't know that." I was like, "No, come on, Ma." She had just came off of a cruise. We went walking. She couldn't do everything because of her little hip and stuff. But it was we went and she got to see it. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do that this summer because I did tell her I wanted us to go back so she could go in the inside because they have the tours on rotation. So when you go, you have to go in there and you get a ticket. And I'm curious to see if the old lady still tells the story. So when you go in the mansion, you go with the ranger. But when you go down onto the plantation is where the lady is, and she's dressed like a slave. She has no slave clothes. Y'all, oh my God, and it's just so. I'm just giving y'all so much because even this. No, we wasn't born back then. But during that time, there was a little boy. He was like 9 years old. You know, trigger warning, trigger warning. He was between 8 and I want to say like 10. And he had been, I don't even know what he did or whatever it was, but he had been beaten and burnt to death. So this happened. He was a slave to this plantation. It had made like news headlines back in that time. It was all over the news, all over the in the newspaper actually. And he's the reason for something. See, I'm trying to remember everything that I learned all them years ago. But this little boy being murdered is the reason for something that we have today. But if you go, the lady, she tells all of it. She tell you all of it. And she know that Phelps was a national district area. Oh, yeah, I did know that one. I did know that one. Wow, that's awesome. And you say it's free to get in. It's free. It's free. So what happened to the family? They own this for 200 years. And what happened is, I guess as generations went on, they like lost money, and they had to sell it, and that's how the state ended up picking it up and keeping it for a historic site. So this is, look at me. This is part of the plantation. This is where the horses stayed. The horses stayed here, and they told you how the slaves lived. That the horses were treated better than the slaves. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I think hey, Samara girl. Imagine a generational wealth if they would have passed some of those acres to some of those slaves that built all of that stuff. Oh my God. And let me tell you, right. One of the slaves here, she was like fly. She ended up, you making me jump. You making me jump. Because she actually ended up, she was the dude that I showed y'all. She was his little mistress. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. You know, Monty T making me gossip. Him right here, he was a dirty, rotten scoundrel, okay? He wasn't no good. She was his boo thing. And she was his boo thing for a while, like willingly. He would give her, she had like nice clothes. Um, she had nice clothes. She got treated a little differently, but whatever it was, she didn't stay here. So something happened where as though she was set free. So when she went somewhere else, she escaped and became free, right? It was all that. She came back. Yes, she did. She came back, y'all, to the plantation to get everything that she owned, that she ever had, all her nice clothes, everything, because Mr. Look at me. Mr. Dirty Man wouldn't let her take anything when she left. Who he sound like? These dudes today, okay? Some stuff just don't change. So, but yeah, so she had so much stuff. She actually had nice things. And I'm not sure if they came from him or what, but the lady tells the whole story. And then you like see it, it's written up in like documents. And when she came back to get her stuff, y'all, they was like, they told him he couldn't touch her. He was pissed. He was pissed. And she came back and he had to give her everything that she had ever had. He had to give her all of her jewelry, all of her money. He had to give her back everything. So I was like, even in the midst of all of that, and even though they were still slaves here, she had became free, but she still went back and conquered everything. You know how much like how empowering that is though? You know what I mean? So this, like I said, so this is where the horses were kept. That's just a tree. It's just showing you different. See, it's telling you the land. The Ridgely family owned the Hampton Plantation for more than 200 years, and their home. So this is letting you see a lot of the stuff that's on the plantation. I don't know if y'all can see it, or do y'all need me to read it to y'all, or y'all can see it. And it was saying it says in their home and many farm buildings have changed a little since the mid 19th century. The property weathered growing pains, World War II, blah, blah, blah. Here you can experience American history through architecture, blah, blah. All right, so they have all these little things. And this family was so rich. They were so rich. He was the richest plantation owner back then that I was getting to this. He had his own ice cooler. Okay. He had his own ice cooler. It had like never been heard of. But here in Maryland, he had his own ice cooler. So here is the ice cooler. And what's cool when you do go up there, when you go up there because it's blocked off, of course. It's sealed, it's closed. But you know how it's the bars, it's just bars, you know how the bars are. You can feel all the cold air from down in the ground. So I wonder if you were to go down there, if there was like a little bit of ice or something. I don't know, but it's freezing. Like you feel it come up. So this is where they will go. Look at me with my finger. So this is where they will go and get the ice. So it says having ice in the summertime was a real luxury. Okay. Early 19th century, storing enough ice to last throughout the summer was a true feature. A large ice house was a sign of wealth. I'm so proud of me that I remember all of this from like 15 years ago. And And originally there were 2 such structures at the Hamptons. You hear that? He had 2 deep freezers at this point. We call them deep freezers today. Although it looks like a grassy mound from the outside, take a step to the view, elaborate underground vault that allowed the Ridgeleys to serve ice cream in July. So not only did he have his own ice and his own ice cream. Oh, and then let me tell you what he did for his wife. Listen, that's gonna take you out. All right, so this is another view. Now, I will say during the summer, it's really, really pretty back here. What you say? Does Donald Trump for you? Okay, that long money. Okay. So this here, it's a bunch of colorful, it's pinks, blue, purple, yellow. It's really pretty. Because there we go. So this is another portion of the land. You can even go down. They have like a hill where you can go down to this garden. It is like one of the like known best gardens in Maryland. All right, so here it is. Captain Charles Ridgely was his name. Country neighbors saw him erecting a palace in the wilderness. So he built this, and it says in the 1780s, they called it Ridgely's Folly. Okay, so this thing been here since the 1780s. Didn't I tell y'all that? The mansion before you, modeled on a great country, houses of Britain, was a great source of pride for the first master of Hampton. When completed in 1790, it was one of the largest private residences in America, an impressive sight for all who visited. The imposing building was a physical expression of success of the entrepreneur for whom it was built. So he was an entrepreneur. So because and you can tell when you go there that it's a beautiful, I mean, you know, I know some people may not like it or whatever, but it's because of what it is, but it's a beautiful house. You can tell that it was a beautiful house. But, you know, like, of course, the color has whatever. It says, as you walk through the site, try to imagine how the buildings were viewed by the owners, paid laborers, and enslaved. The mansion was located at the highest point on the property. So this is why when you're down on like the regular roads in the street, remember I told y'all, me and my friend was just driving and was like, dang, that's a nice house. What it is? And he was like, that look like a mansion, like a plantation. And it really was. And we went up there because it sits so high up on a hill. It gives royalty. It really does. Feature also serves a cooling interior, providing a perfected vantage point for the family and guests to view. So this is the whole house. And when you're doing the tour, you're going to actually go in. You go in through the back because they can't open the front door. And the bell is actually like broken. I hope this plate. Okay, see, remember I told y'all, this is the dining room again. Okay, so this is the slave quarters. Because y'all see the, well, I'm in the way. Hold on. So how y'all feeling so far about tonight? Are y'all liking the conversation? Let me know. You know, I know when y'all get quiet, y'all, you know, oh, look, right when I asked, thank you, she said, love the history lesson. Yes, girl. I think you and your kids would love it. So back here, remember I told y'all this is where they kept the horses at. So this is the slave, part of the slave quarters. And oh my God, they let us go in. Because like I said, you get to go in everything. Y'all, wait a minute, because I'm getting excited. Guess what part of the house this is? Guess what part of the house this is? So when they let you go into where the slaves were, y'all, I mean, we are so unappreciative today. When I tell y'all that the slave quarters, like, house was like this big, like you couldn't even stand up straight in it. And the beds were like toddler beds. And they were made out of wood. Listen, what the hell house is this? Was the name changed from originally is Pride to originally Delight? I'm gonna find out. That's a good thing. I'm gonna find out. You're not big on plantations, yeah, me neither. So this what area of the house y'all think this is? Because look, so you know what's cool too? What I think is great, why I say I think everybody should go, is because it brought into more perspective of the movies. So you know how like the slave movies like Django, 12 Years a Slave, y'all know all of those movies from back in the day, how they show you like big pictures on the wall like this. They really lived like this. Like they really had paintings all over of like their family. Hey Joe with the soul. So once I went and I saw this for myself, I was like, Joe say hey y'all, say hey Joe, say hi to Joe, y'all. So once I went and I saw it for myself some years ago, it makes me like it does something more to me when I watch a movie from like back in the day, or when I just watch a movie that has like these paintings and stuff on the wall. But y'all still ain't tell me what part of the house y'all think this is. My goodness. Y'all that indulging into it. I know that's right. Give me some heart and thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Become a member of the Patreon so you can get all the behind the scenes scoop de whoop de doo. Look at them, they all saying, hey Joe, hey. All right, can somebody tell me what part of the house this is, or we're not going to go to the next slide? Then I'm about to get like the teacher and start calling y'all out. Calling y'all out. Let's see. Don't all speak at once now. Let me see. Come on. Hurry up. What part of the house y'all think this is? Okay. Thank you, Benita. The dining room. Okay. What else? Is anybody gonna leave Benita by herself? And this is not even handsome. Would it be called the parlor? Maybe. I wonder if that's what I wonder if because like I said, they had like a bunch of rooms. So this, y'all, is the hallway. Did they call hallways parlors back then? This is the hallway. The crazy thing is, this is half of the hallway. So, remember that part of the house that I showed y'all? She said, oh, wow. Yes. So, remember that part that I showed y'all where like they had all of them different living rooms and stuff like that? This connected. So, this is one side of like one of the living room areas that y'all seen with the yellow in the cello. And then this is the other side where you go in. So, the stuff was like separated. This is a hallway. And this is more of the slave quarters. I wonder if they got pictures of the inside. So this is the house. This was also one of the slaves' houses where the slaves stayed. And this is where the lady tells the story. And you go inside of here, and the newspaper article that I was telling y'all about with the little burnt up boy, the kid that they burnt, it's all in here. So inside of here is where all the articles are and the history in regards to that. Then you go over here, and this is where she had everybody stand in the circle and asked you choose, because they have items on the table. Like if you were running away, what would you take? And it's crazy because it had all kinds of stuff on the table, and the things that they would take would it be nothing that you would choose. Like they didn't take any flask for water. They didn't take any like a flashlight or anything. It was like all they took was like this little pipe thing, and it was like a little bag because she explained that while they would be running away, they had to have stuff that was light, so they couldn't have anything that would weigh them down. And I was like, oh my God. And then they had us put the little kettle thing. She said, I just told you earlier, the parlor. Okay, so the hallway back then is called the parlor. Okay. You got it right. Where was I at? Oh, so they had us put the little kettlebell thing on. Yeah, that thing was heavy, and it had the bells on it. I mean, extremely heavy. We got to touch a real cow tongue whip. They had several of those. Let's see. Okay, give me the lesson. No, they never called the hallway the parlor. The parlor was more of a sitting area. Oh, okay. So no. So then that wasn't the parlor. So the parlor are all the other rooms that I showed you earlier. Okay. That was the half of the hallway and the front door, one of the doors. They actually had two doors. So this is another view of it. And then we got to touch real shackles. Them things was heavy. I mean, they just treated people like animals. Okay, so here we go. Here's a parlor. So there were kids that lived here on the plantation, and the young lady, the little girl, what she would do. I wonder if it's on here. What she would do, because her family, the Grantley family, they would let her give all the children slave toys and gifts. And the book is still there with like the old pages, because she would write down everybody. She would write down all of their names and their ages. There she go. So she's the one that was married to Grantley, and then she ended up marrying the dirty, rotten scoundrel we talked about. She ended up marrying him when the other one died, and I think he ended up being like her brother or an uncle or something. So this is a view of the backyard. Y'all, look at this backyard. Look at this. And you complaining about cutting the grass in front of your house. I wouldn't be cutting this. Look at this. And of course, on each side, like right here, a little back here, are benches, and it's benches over here. And then this is where you can go down the hill. But maybe you got to climb back up or walk around. He also had her a freaking orange tree. They also were the only ones that had an orange tree. You know how they say orange trees don't go here. And it's this other tree. I forget what kind of tree it is, but it's a very, very big tree that he had. When she received the tree was in a little shoebox, and they planted it. And they planted it, right? And it grew into this huge tree. So it's a tree there that's from, and only that is grown in like Brazil or something. Y'all read this. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. So this is the parlor. So her book is in one of those rooms. That's a well. Her. So Nancy Davis with Eliza Ridgely. So this is the little girl who would do the Christmas list of all the children. And because not all the slaves lived here. Remember, I told y'all the slaves from this place. Do y'all remember? Let me see if y'all paying attention to the lesson. What part of Baltimore City did the Ridgely Grantley slaves build? Let's see if y'all remember. She was the nursemaid and the only former slave buried in the Ridgely Cemetery. And we also went back there in their cemetery. Even their cemetery was different. But she is back there. Okay, you said East Side. Okay, so name one. Okay, name one. I'm so glad you're paying attention, girl. What projects in Baltimore? I'll give you the clue. Which projects in Baltimore? Benita said, so this is another one. So this is how it was said. I hope not Druid Hill Park. They did Grantley Street over West is named after him. I'm gonna give y'all one of them. Remember, one of them is what? One of them is Douglas Homes. His slaves built Douglas Home projects and lived there. So all the slaves didn't live here. This was the bedroom, y'all. And in the bedroom, you see this? And in the bedroom, how you actually see it on TV, there is the string with the bell. And look, we might not get into the court case today. I'm all over here. And the room was just ugly though. Like the decor wasn't decoring. But like I said, all of this is the original stuff. Room huge. This is the tree. This is the tree that was sent over here. And it's so old that it's like screws and like barbed wire and different stuff holding it up now because it's so old. We saw this part. We saw this one. Deers do just roam around there freely. That's Mr. Grantley and them again. But this is the tree. So this is the back of the house. This is the back of the house. And you like I said, you can go there whenever, but the inside is only open during like their little tour portions. Okay, so this is the kitchen. So this part was very touching when me and my friend went here because over here, y'all, you can tell like over here, the floor is like dented in like this. Like, and that's from all the foot traffic, they said, of the slaves going in and out of the kitchen. In and out of the kitchen and going outside to go get everything. Did you say Towson? Yes, it's in Towson. It's in the Towson area. It has its own sign. It's down there by which exits? I used to know the exit. Where the sign says the Hamptons, the Hamptons Historic, and then like you're going to Shepherd Pratt. Like you're going towards Shepherd Pratt. But that's where it is. So yeah, so this right here, it's like you're going to Shepherd Pratt, and then you don't go that way towards like the York Road, Charles Street. You go the opposite way where all the residential homes are. That's why I said I don't know if I could live there. And they have, of course this is fake because they just have it like that. But then they show you like what the cooks look like, the different stuff that they will cook. These were the stoves. So that stove that Celie had on, got that going, color purple. This be it. This was like the oven part. This was like the part they threw the fire in. This was also like a fire pit with the pots. I mean, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It seemed like you had to work hard back in the day. Let me see. This was his room. And then you see this little bucket. Y'all know how they would put their feet in the buckets and stuff on movies. Like this stuff was really real. Yeah, flag projects. Okay, yep. So they own Perkins, LaTrobe, Douglas, Grantley Street. Okay, this is a better look. So it's little chests and stuff. This is where like the men would hang out. I think y'all should go. And they like weird. Like she had her own room too. And the crazy thing is on the outside looking in, I believe the house was like because this is when you go up to the second floor. It's like 3 more floors or 2 more floors to here, but you can't go up there because it's so old and the wood has corroded and stuff like that. You can't go up there. But that little hallway of that house, up the front part of the house where I showed y'all to the left side of it, that's where all the different bells were. And they were saying that in order, and I didn't know this, in order to be in the house and work in the house as a slave, you had to have really good hearing. Let me tell you why. No, you tell me why. Why do you think they said you can put the cooking, cooking is necessary and all that, but in order to work in the house, what is the one thing you think was more important than everything in order for you to even qualify to work in a house? It says Northampton furnace operating. So this was like also a business he owned here. 1812. See, he and everybody that worked for him was slaves. He had like a whole damn near iron company. See how you get to see the difference? So tell me what y'all think. Because I told you where the bells was. Well, I'm going to just tell y'all. So this is the signs and stuff that you'll see. See? And all of the stuff is still in there. See? The bells. What y'all think these bells for? Okay, you're welcome. Have a great night, and I hope you charge your phone. All right, so what do y'all think these bells for? Y'all getting clues. What do y'all think? What do you think these bells are for? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then there's one over here that's missing 10, 11. I think it was like 12 or 13 bells. Like 13 bells. And the strings aren't even near them. And then when you go in there, right? Tell me what you had to have to work in the house. And then when you go in there, right, the strings are on the other side, like the main, but there is a string that goes to each one in all the parts of the houses. Look at that. That's down in the ice cellar. All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all. It's called the man's game. Let's see. I don't know what to get the man's attention. So look at you. You Mr. Mike, y'all paying attention. So, all right. So in order to work in the house, you had to have really good hearing because you had to know which rooms the bells belong to. And if you got it wrong, you would be in trouble. Isn't that crazy? Like so you had to, when you think about it, it's almost like how we train animals. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they trained us to be domesticated or something. So you had to know which room each bell went to. So when whoever is pulling on the string, you had to know, oh, they're in the bedroom. Oh, this is the kitchen bell. Oh, this is the living room bell. This is the kids' room bell. Like, I mean, just crazy. So you couldn't work in the house if you didn't have good hearing. And if you messed up, that's your butt. So this house right here, that I did show y'all before, this is called, basically, they didn't want to have to repeat themselves to call the slaves. Yup, basically. And because there were slaves all out through the house, you had to know. So, like, even in the kitchen, you'll see where the string was. But this also was during a time when I think Willie Lynch or something, um, he was going around killing all the slaves, I mean, killing all the masters. Y'all remember him? So they actually lived in fear because when you in that little hallway, they show you where by the bells is like another door where they would block it with like these big 4x4s because they were afraid because he was going into the master houses and killing them. They were afraid that he was going to come to the daggone Ridgely Plantation. So this served first master, originally had his first master, Captain Charles Ridgely. Charles Ridgely, yep, to call the different servants, yep. So Charles Ridgely was the first one to own this. And that's how you got Ridgely Road, Ridge Road, all that after this man. The big fat one I showed y'all, that was Grantley. He was like the second owner or something. Lived in a house before the mansion was completed. He lived here before it was completed in the 19th century. And he served as a resident for the farmer, manager, and overseer. Goes to both fields and farm slaves. It was lower in many respects. The overseer was lower in social standing than the estate owner and his quarters. So over here, it's owned by, like they would hire somebody to come and, oversee it. And basically, John Ridgely Jr., so it says, when the Hamptons became a National Historic Site in 1948, John Ridgely Jr. was the last owner of the estate, moved from the mansion back here to the lower house. So even when they made it a national site, he moved from that house to the lower house. Because remember I told you they was running out of money? It's some other pictures too. There's some other one somewhere. Yeah, so this is the Grantley guy. He was the second owner. This is the Grantley guy. It's something else I wanted to show y'all. But yeah, this is it. It's really nice. It's really nice. You see all the different angles. So, and this is how it looks. I wish I could zoom it in. Can we zoom this in? This is how, when you look at it from afar, but this is also how it looks when you're down on the road. Like it's really like it sits up on the hill, but it doesn't look like that. And these were like the walkways. I mean, it was a beautiful house, beautiful plantation. So over here, that was the part that went to the kitchen. I'm sorry, I'm lying. That's the part where the bells and stuff was. So the bells and stuff is over here. See, this was a door. Behind that, on the other side is a door. Behind this is the other door. Behind this is another door. So when he was going around killing all the masters, they had like tons of woods and all that at all the doors because they were afraid. And then this just shows you how it looked over the time. This is how it looked during different seasons. So like I said again, I recommend everyone go take a look at it because it was really nice. And look, I spent the whole hour talking to y'all about this, which is great. I can't even get into the trial because I've been watching this Young Thug trial because these guys is on the stand and I can't tell y'all if this man is making the case or breaking the case. But I wonder if they have pictures of the graveyard. So this is another angle. This is down in the lower level. And don't get me wrong, you see how in these pictures it looked like it's close to the big house? Oh, it's not. It's not. The big house is far away. I mean, and this is like to walk from the big house, because you can see the big house. So he had the house made where he would be able to look over and still see. He can look down and see, because when you sit up high, it's like royalty. And the plantation was down where the slave quarters was. And he could see all the way down there from sitting up there. That's how he had the house made, to sit on the hill to look down on the slaves and stuff and to watch them while they worked. Baby, that was like a 15, 20-minute walk, especially in the heat. So yeah, I wonder if this is one of the pictures. Let me see. No, let me stop sharing it real quick. I'm gonna get it right back up there with y'all. But yeah, it's just it's great. I love it. Like I said, I've been a few times. I want to try to find these other things for y'all. I've been a few times. I actually like it because and each time it's like an embracing. You learn something new. Charles Ridgely. You learn something new. So it was so fun. Yo, when I tell y'all, each time it's fun. Symbolic. A house on the hill. Listen, okay? Listen, they knew what they were doing. I want to show y'all like some of the pictures that they showed us. I'm sorry, I was reading. I want to see. I want to see slave photos. Oh, this is what it looked like. So, could you feel that? Was it spooky? No, it wasn't spooky. It wasn't spooky. Could you feel the energy? No, you couldn't feel the energy, but we felt the energy in the kitchen, if that makes sense. Like you could feel like in that kitchen area, where like my best friend he went and stood actually in the little dented part, and he was like he could feel, he could feel it. So I was like, okay, let me see. So I went over there, and you definitely could feel in the atmosphere of the kitchen area, you could feel like wow, you know what I mean? You could feel it. It was like, dang, they was like working. It was hard. Like people were actually here. And maybe you couldn't feel it throughout the rest of the house because probably because the white people lived in there, but definitely in the area, you could feel it in the kitchen and in the slave quarters. When you go inside of the slave quarters and when you go inside of that what they call the lower house, you could definitely feel it. Okay, have a great thank you. Thank you for tuning in from Vegas. I'll be chatting with you again soon. I appreciate the educational experience this evening, but it's 6:15. Let's go. So I'm getting ready to head over to my friend's house for dinner. Go ahead, eat for me. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. So you definitely could feel, oh, I want to share the screen. So you could feel it in those areas. So I believe that we could feel it in those areas because those were the areas that we lived in. Matter of fact, I'm gonna drag my homegirl Tremanda to go see it. We're gonna make her get up on a good foot. Um, I wanted to find, oh, and the other thing too, his land was so big that they used to raise horses on the plantation. So he's also part of like the horsing stuff that I guess happens at the Preakness that they be having every year. All right, so I want to show you the pictures of. I wish I had the lady name. Y'all, you know the lady I told y'all about that came back, that was the slave, and got all her goods from the man that was her man. She said, I don't do plantations, but I will probably go just to feel what I could pick up. Yeah, and honestly, it wasn't a real bad, it was not a really bad feeling to see what you can pick up on. I recommend you go. It wasn't really a bad feeling like through it because I was so indulged in the fact that I'm learning so much stuff. Thank you. Love you too. But I like learning stuff. So I was so impacted and couldn't believe that this house was this freaking big and all of this stuff. I was like, oh my God. But I want to, because this is it. But they have, okay. So now I'm getting to some of the pictures. So she's one. She was a slave that was on there, Cecilia Davis. She was on the Butler plantation. And that's the other thing too. Like they would bounce you from plantation to plantation. But I want to look at this. Look at the slave sale in Georgia. So this was the largest slave sale in Georgia's history. The weeping time, not the weeping time. Let me take this off of here so we can see. Yeah, I don't remember her name. What did I just do? No, I'm doing something. There we go. I'm clicking stuff. Yeah, I don't remember her name. I wish I could find the article. This is why I say y'all gotta go. No, what would you keep doing, man? Stop clicking stuff. So this it says March 23rd, 1859, at the Tin Rock Race Course, a quarter-mile southwest to satisfy the creditors, Pierce M. Butler. Okay, so that lady belonged to the Pierce M. Butler Island in Hampton Plantation near Darien, Georgia. The breakup of the families and the loss of a home became part of African American heritage. Remember as the weeping time. I want to. So this is another plantation, and he is alleged to supposedly have had like one of the best plantations in America. How can I find this lady? Let me see. See, it pops up, but I want to see some of the slaves. See this? This is a plantation. It's like a drawing. But I want to see. I want to see the actual real photo. I don't want to see no cartoon. But how do y'all feel at night? Did y'all learn something? Were you triggered? I hope you weren't triggered. See, I wonder if this video is about his plantation. Because this is Maryland slavery. I want to know about. Oh, this make me not even want to play Monopoly. Y'all see that? It make me not even want to play Monopoly. A little triggered the more I think about it. Okay. I was just about to say that's how they made us lose that little identity we had, move us around like objects from place to place. Imagine constantly using everybody, everything. Right. Like just moving you around. Okay, you feel good. Okay, you're not triggered. You're a little triggered. The more you think about it. Yeah. And so I get why people feel the way they be feeling about stuff, but this is part of the reason why I felt like we should not be eating fried chicken today. So y'all seen that question when I was like, if your job was given something and they wanted y'all to eat fried chicken, like this was part of the reason why I feel like no, I want no fried chicken, because we just ate whatever we had. And let's see, I want to find the story of the little boy at the freaking Grantley plantation. No fried chicken for me today. Me either. I had oxtail. Come on, y'all. What's another way we could find? Let's see if they pop up this way. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing. He was also the governor. He was the governor of Maryland. Charles Ridgely was also the governor of Maryland. Yep, I forgot that. I forgot that fun fact. He was the governor of Maryland. I wonder if this is the lady. I wonder if this is her. Can y'all hear it? Can you hear it? Heavy on the power. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear them talking? Because I can hear it, but I want to make sure y'all can hear it. Because this might give you a little thing. Let me know if y'all can hear it so I can press play. Let me know. No, you couldn't hear it. See, what I hate about this. Oh, okay, so she's talking about how I try to claim my kid coming to fix it. So she said, okay, so I'm telling y'all what she's saying then. Because I don't know why. It's like in order for me to do it, I would have to save this and then y'all would have to hear it in a different format. So I actually think that's the lady that do the thing. She said that the wife of the house that I showed y'all earlier, she came from France because she had a whole house in all that in France, and she wanted it to look like how her like plantation house in France looked. And this is why they built these homes with great stone because they wanted it to last long for an aesthetic. And so they also use European and indigent servants too. So they didn't just only have African American. They treated the Europeans the same way they treated the Africans. They had a lot of African slaves. This is what I told you. She had us put around on that. I touched that. See, look, y'all thought I was lying. So this is her. This is in 2017. Yeah, this is I think this is the lady who did the tour originally. So even though you can't hear it, just remember all the stuff that I said because she's pretty much saying it. I believe this is her. He died in 1829. He had he had 350 slaves when he died. No, I'm you know what, William? I'm glad you said that. I'm in the process of switching. Look at this random. Hold on. I'm in the process of switching to OBS because I don't use OBS, but OBS it seems so complicated. Like even when I was watching the tutorials on it, I have to literally take days to do it. And I haven't done it since I tried it like last week. I sat for like 2 days. Yeah, but I'm changing this system that you see me using and I'm going to the OBS because I'm learning that there's so many more things that OBS can do. So listen, I'm about to tell y'all, he manumitted or freed some of his slaves. He had 350. He only freed women between the ages of 25 and 45. Oh yes, please do. We inbox me, DM me, inbox me. We need to talk, please. Um, and men between 28 and 45. So when he freed people, he even freed them with a we all heard. So y'all, she said the way that this man right here, she's saying that even though slavery had ended and he had all those rules, because remember y'all, he was also the governor. The way he wrote his will, the way she said the way he had written his will, slavery would have never ended. Like his slaves would have never been free. She said it was over 30 years. Like this happens over 30, it was over 30 years. So she said some of the people who went free over those decades wasn't even free. They weren't even born yet. In the way he wrote his will, slavery would have never ended. And she said, so what he did, the way he wrote it, he made sure his heirs got the most productive years out of these slaves' lives. So that's crazy. So even before, so back then, it's crazy when you think about it, but it's like, God damn, um, that people would write a will. And in the will, they was passing down slaves. And here we be arguing about who the hell gonna be in the obituary. Or talking about don't put me in the obituary as his special friend. Could you imagine if you went to one of your loved ones' funerals and they freaking were passing you down? Oh my goodness. And we can't even freaking figure out who's gonna make the potato salad. So this is a picture from his plantation in one of his slaves. And also too, like how they dress. They were only supposed they only could wear certain fabrics. So also one of the outfits and stuff that he was doing it, one of their outfits wore like it weighed like 18 pounds. So how am I weighing 18 pounds of wool and picking freaking cotton? I would have hung. Yeah. It was slow. Yeah, this is her. So this lady right here, she knows the entire history of the whole plantation. Um, Now, I will say because the Love Below asked me about the energy. Now, like I said, you don't feel it all the way through it, but when she would tell it, when she told the stories and how she hit on everything, because she gets into character, she make you feel it. Like she freaking and she's not doing She's not doing so much. She's not being animated. She's not being any of that. She's talking how she, I wish y'all could hear it because I'm feeling it with just how she's talking about it. She's just explaining and she talked with so much confidence that, it's like, damn. It was sold in 1948. Listen, she said that when people come, this is what I keep telling y'all, maybe we should take a CCS trip there. I think that would be fun. I think that would be fun. Would y'all come? I think that would be fun. I'm a plan it. I'm planning a CCS trip. I'm a plan a what we gonna call it, a CCS field trip. I'm planning it. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna get the tickets. I gotta take some people with me though because I think you can only I forget how many tickets you can get, but I'm gonna research it and see when the hours of her actually thing, and I'll pick people up and we can go. Yeah, I would. Yeah, and but what she's saying is that she said that she hopes that when people come and they visit, they take away the fact that we aren't all so different. European and African, she said people of African, hold on, let me see. Let me tell you what she's saying. She said we have more similarities than we have differences. People that are European and African descent. She was a slave. So on Black History Month, they have special events on Sundays, but they're open Thursday through Sunday. He just said. Yeah, so they open. So like I said, they open every week from Thursday through Sunday. Um, and I want to go. Look, I go all the time, but like I said, I think you should go, especially if you live right here in Baltimore. It's right in Towson. You literally drive past it going to the mall. When you're at Towson Mall, you literally like 10 minutes from it, 15 minutes from it. And it's just crazy how, like I said, I lived here all my life and didn't know, I used to travel up and down that highway all the time. And like I said, my mother didn't even know about this place. So I felt, like I said, I felt good that I was able to, expose my mother to something that she didn't know about that was here. But I'm trying to see. I want to see if, but she's a great storyteller. That lady is a great storyteller. See, he was the first owner with his wife, Rebecca Dorsey, right? So it says purchase 15 acres of land called Northampton in Baltimore County from the original owners, the Donald Hill family. In 1760, he gave 2,000 acres, including the northern two-thirds of Northampton, to his son Charles as a wedding present. Like she tells you all that. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait. I wish we could like do stuff like that. Like he gifted his son for their wedding gifts land. Okay. Um, they tried to operate a tobacco plantation on the land, but being far from the coast, it was hard to compete with the plantations closer to the ports in the cities. Charles Jr., who was referred to as the captain due to the career as a mariner, switched to growing wheat and other grains with the goal of being the major supplier of produce to the Baltimore area. So when I tell y'all that they had some freaking long money, they had some long money. He was supplying stuff to the whole area of Baltimore. It helped eliminate the shipping discrepancies he faced when trying to compete with plantations that sold goods mainly in England. He was always here in Baltimore competing with England. He also purchased 100 acres of land to the North County of it. Following year, Charles and his second son, John, opened the Northampton Iron Furnace. So those are all the pictures that I had showed you earlier. Like, this is just telling you just how and this is just the first owner, how much wealth was in this family. Y'all gotta go to this plantation. John died in 1771. Captain Charles purchased his share of the company, now giving him 2/3 of ownership. So when his son died, he purchased his son's stuff. And the colonel died a year later, but gave his shares to his third daughter, his three daughters. It's from the iron industry. So you see, you even see, do you see the differences of even what they would leave their children? They would leave their sons like stuff that keeps growing them and all of that. But it was like, women, even though they were white, we were never really too popular. Because he left her, his three daughters, the industry that would make his fortune during the American Revolutionary. The Northampton Iron Furnace was a major supplier of artillery to the Continental Army. So you see what I'm saying? His iron company was able to supply the war. Okay. Oh, look, everything was done. He said, however, as with most government contracts, did y'all know that? At the time, everything was done on credit and with payback hinging on an American victory. When a treaty was finally signed in 1783, sealing America's independence from England, Ridgely was paid in full for the services he had provided. He was now a rich man, but more was yet to come. So heavy on I'm gonna pay you back. So here it is, they're just doing stuff, buying stuff, taking people's word from it, for it. And if you win, you gotta pay me back. But it sounds like you're getting that plus interest. 1781, the General Assembly of Maryland passed a law that forced all British loyalists to forfeit their land in Maryland and to leave the country, assuming, of course, the Americans won the war. So if America won the war, Britain people had to bag back, basically like what Trump is doing when he had to build that border. Subsequently, those with the proper connections were able to buy the confiscated land for a song. I wonder what that means. The captain, being active in politics, had 3 connections. Remember, because he was the governor. So this lets you know, right? I know this is like I said, I was getting into the trial of Young Thug, but this right here lets you know that connections be everything. What y'all think? What y'all think? Because right here, he's talking about how they would confiscate your land, for a song, but by him being active in politics and he had connections, he was able to expand his land holdings to around 25,000 acres, making him one of the wealthiest men in America almost overnight. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? This man blew up overnight. He blew up overnight. Subscribe to the channel. Y'all, subscribe to the channel. If you like the show, you can cash app, send stars. But look at this. So it says, with all this wealth, he set out to build the largest private home in the United States at the time, Hampton Mansion. So that's how he built this big old mansion. Because of the war. Because America won the war. And he told them he wanted damn near triple of everything. Made him rich overnight. Made him already the governor, one of the wealthiest men in America. And he repurchased 25,000 more acres of land. Listen. They didn't start building the mansion until 1783. They hired labor skilled craftsmen, slaves owned by Ridgely, and indentured European servants. Work continued to some extent through 1790, though the majority of the house was completed by 1788. The mansion was 24, the mansion is 24,000 square feet. Big enough, we want to figure out what this is. It says it was big enough to fit Thomas Jefferson's, Monticello, and George Washington's Mount Vernon inside and still have some room left over. Now I'm curious to see what that is. So we can see. We'll see what that is. I told y'all this house is huge. Oh, wow. You mean to tell me? See, listen. Look at this. This look little. So this mansion was big enough to be able to take Thomas Jefferson, who was the president, this house, and put it inside of this one. And George Washington's Mount Vernon. I didn't even know it was that damn big. Wow. Y'all see this? It could fit this inside of it. That is crazy. So, which requires complete symmetry. One half of the house is essentially a mirror image of the other half. Didn't I tell y'all? So the house is like huge. The captain and his wife, Rebecca, moved into the mansion in December of 1788. But unfortunately, they only got to enjoy their new home for a little over a year. The captain had a stroke and died on June 28, 1790. I don't want to say as he should, but you know what I'm saying? He went through all of that to build this house and didn't even get to enjoy it. Won all that money and didn't even get to enjoy it. With his wife, Rebecca Dorsey. Charles Ridgely Carnan and Priscilla Dorsey were the second owners from 1790 to 1829. In his will, the captain left Rebecca the choice of the large overseer's house and 8 acres, part of the farm down the road where the Ridgeleys lived during the construction phase, or the mansion. So he freaking left her a house to stay in, which was this one, down where she could stay in while the house was, whatever it was doing. Dennis said, "Why was to finish the memo? Because the Ridgeleys had no children, the rest of the estate was left to his nephew, Charles Ridgely Carnan, whom he and Rebecca had helped raise. In fact, Carnan and his wife, Priscilla Dorsey, she's the sister of Rebecca, were living at Hampton Mansion at the time of the captain's death." So you see how they just like keep marrying, they marry into each other? Y'all see that? They keep the money in there. Because how do you even assume that he was going to like your sister? The only caveat was that Charles had to change his name to Charles Cannon Ridgely, which you can imagine he did as quickly as he could get down to City Hall. City Hall, which is downtown. He also received the captain's 2/3 share of the Northampton iron furnace. So this is the house. Rebecca and Carnan, as I will call him for the sake of clarity, did not get along. So basically Priscilla's sister didn't get along with Charles. To remedy the situation, the two worked out a deal where she agreed to give up her ownership of all Hampton property in exchange for Carnan purchasing for her 244 acres of land at another location, building her a house, a carriage house, and a stable fencing in the property, and paying her $1,000 a year for the rest of her life. She lived another 22 years, even though the currency of dollars was established after the war. Spanish and English currencies were commonly used to track financial transactions all the way up until the Civil War. Damn! Damn! And this is what the sister-in-law got. Because her and her sister's husband did not get along, she gave up it because she was the wife, so she still owned part of the damn plantation. She gave it all up for him to pay her $1,000 for the rest of her life, buy her some land, build her a house with all the extra fixings. I've been on here almost 2 hours. This is crazy. Are you still here with me? Y'all still here with me? It says when Carnan and Priscilla moved into the Hampton, they began completing tasks at the estates that the captain never got around to. For example, the mansion had never been painted and the garden had never been completed. So the new owners got it done. So remember I told y'all, so she's the reason why the back of the plantation looks the way it does. The upgrades to the property during Carter's ownership included the installation of a pull bell system. Remember I told you that could summon servants to various places around the house. I'm so glad I remember all that stuff. The installation of the wooden pipe system that brought water to the kitchen and laundry room, and the installation of an irrigation system for the garden. He also built the new stable, which is located near the Hamptons Lane. So they built in a system. He had a system built in where you could get the water from the laundry clothes and all that to like float through the house and all of that. He died in 1829. Priscilla had died earlier in 1814. In his will, he gave freedom to many of his 300 plus slaves. All male slaves between the ages of 28 and 45 and female slaves between the ages of 25 and 45 were freed. Those over 45 were placed in trust and could not be sold. Ain't that some shit? But they were to be treated kindly and taken care of in old age. All males younger than 28 and females younger than 25 remained slaves, though they would be freed when reaching 28 and 25 years old, respectively. This, of course, kept the younger, more productive men and women in slavery. Damn. So these were the third owners. Yeah, because so this mansion had 6 owners. Who, let's see. Are y'all keeping up? Are y'all still here with me or y'all want me to shut up? Because I'm into it now. John Carnan Ridgely and Eliza Auchenberger Ridgely, the third owners, being the only heir to the Captain Charles Ridgely fortune. Carnan had not only inherited Hampton and a share of the Northampton iron furnace, but all of the captain's 25,000 acres of land. So he got, don't laugh at me, Benita. I'm for real, because I can be quiet and we can just log off. But I feel like somebody's listening. So by them being the third owners, they had He was able to get everything. So did you like notice the difference with that? So he was able to get everything versus before between the first two, they only gave him a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. He owned the 25,000 acres of land. He and Priscilla had now the third one. The third owners had 10 children. 10 children. So it was upon his death that the estate began to be subdivided. Hampton was amounted to the original Northampton land purchase plus a few additional parcels went to his oldest surviving son, John Carnan Ridgely, and the rest of the estate was divided among his other children. John had married Prudence Carroll in 1812. She came from a wealthy family and had inherited an estate and slaves of her own. This is crazy. Like these people are just inheriting slaves. She died in 1822 and never lived at the Hamptons. That's when he remarried this woman up here. And you die, boy, they remarried fast. That's when he married Eliza Ridgely, a fifth cousin. Remember I told y'all he went with somebody in his family, he married his fifth cousin. Remember I told y'all that? Couldn't think out. I had a lure, but I knew one of them dirty pieces. All right, so he married his fifth cousin. In 1828, Eliza also came from a wealthy family and also inherited an estate of slaves. Thus, John was doing all right without any help from his father, and despite the fact that many of Carnan's slaves had been freed, he was not lacking for slave labor. Let's see, what you saying? Ridgeline Delight downtown is close to Carroll Park. Wonder if there's a connection. I don't know. We can see. That's what Mike was saying earlier. He was like, was it changed? Was the names changed? So it says, see, here we go. Now you're about to learn why the garden is so big. Eliza had a huge interest in gardening, and it was under her watch that the gardens at the Hampton became known throughout the East as some of the best in the country. I'm telling you, it's so pretty. Like this garden is so pretty. She was also the first Ridgely to hire professional gardeners. The gardener's house, which was originally a small two-room house built around 1840, was enlarged to 6 rooms in 1855 for the sole purpose of attracting the top gardeners to a position. So, she was a little smart. She made the garden house at the Hampton. This is the garden house at the Hampton. So she made it look appeasing so people would want to come work there. John took an interest in building, and most of the outbuildings standing today include the 2 greenhouses, the garden house, the second stable, and the original orangery, which burnt down in 1928. During this time, upgrades to the mansion itself, aside from general maintenance, were the additions of the north porch. The last major addition to the mansion exterior is the installation of bathrooms on the first and second floor. The upgrade from wooden water pipes to iron pipes for both the house and greenhouse, the installation of gas lighting, and the installation of central heating. John and Eliza were the last of the big spenders in the Ridgely family. By the 1830s, production at the Northampton Iron Furnace had fallen off sharply. So remember when I said they started losing their money? And it was shut down completely around 1850. Its machinery and techniques had become outdated. The land was fairly depleted of resources, and transportation costs were much higher than those of ironworkers close to the coast, which remains of the ironworks today, lie at the bottom of the Loch Raven Reservoir. Look, we getting more places. You see, they got shit. So that's where the iron furnace and stuff was. The reservoir. So the reservoir connected to them too. I told y'all these people, they own like everything. So I think, like for me, that's why when I went there, I was so like taken back, because it's like these people own fucking, pardon my mouth, everything here in freaking Baltimore, in Maryland. Like they own this family owned everything in Maryland, in Baltimore. It seemed like. So that's something else. The reservoir. A second blow to the Ridgely finances, though not an impactful one, is the demise of the ironworks, was the end of slavery. So that's the other thing too. When slavery ended, they lost a lot. Was the end of slavery in 1864. This not only put an end to the free labor, but also the financial value of slaves was erased, sort of like owning a gold mine when the gold runs out. So basically, owning slaves didn't even matter at this point. The Ridgeleys continued the agriculture business at the Hamptons, but they relied more and more on leasing the land to the tenant farmers and less on activity farming the land themselves. Some of the tenants were the Ridgely former slaves. So then they started having to take care of the land themselves. Charles Ridgely and Margaret Howard. John and Eliza had two children, Charles and Eliza. When John died on July 17th, 1867, the Hampton estates went to his wife. However, Eliza herself died only a few months later on December 20th. At the time the Hampton passed to Charles, making him the fourth owner, he inherited 3,402 acres, which included the Hampton's estate plus some of his parents' other land. Charles had been running the family farming business since 1850, so he was no stranger to Hamptons. He no longer had income from the iron business, so agriculture was the main source of his active income during his ownership of the Hamptons. He made money from both rents to tenants and from the sale of his own produce. However, he made 2/3 of his income from passive activities such as investments in stocks and bonds. The only significant improvement to the mansion during Charlestown was a new road that ran from the avenue on the west side of the mansion to near the greenhouses. A lack of money may be the first thought that comes to mind as to why nothing much was done other than maintenance. But the truth is much simpler. Charles didn't live long after inheriting the estate, dying of malaria in Rome, Italy, at the age of 49 on March 29th. So it don't seem like nothing good's coming to these slave owners. John Richards II and Helen Stewart were the fifth owners. Charles had married Margaret Howard in 1851, and they had 7 children with John Ridgely, the second being the oldest son. By the terms of the will, John II only received the mansion and what was known as the home farm, the farm located down the road from the estates, roughly 1,000 acres. The rest of the 2,400 acres was divided between the remaining children. So you see how it's getting lesser and less. John took on the role of what his wife Helen Stewart described as a gentleman farmer, which meant that he didn't do anything, though technically the owner of the Hamptons, his mother continued to run the estate until around 1900. She died in 1904. During this time, she authorized the second major renovation of the mansion between 1888 and 1882. This included major repairs of the orgery and the 2 greenhouses. It wasn't until after Margaret's death and the further decline of his fortune that John took an active part in the affairs of the estate, though in truth, it was Helen who did all the work. So you see here, even the women were working, right? Because the mansion was so isolated, all originally prior to John maintained a winter residency in Baltimore. John and Helen became the first Ridgeleys to live at Hampton full time, starting in 1906. This was not out of the love for the mansion, but to avoid the expenses of maintaining a second home. By 1907, the couple was nearly broke. To help matters, they expanded the farm operations to include the raising chickens, and Helen received a substantial inheritance in 1908. Despite the hardship, they still maintained the gardens and the buildings. In 1929, John and his son John Jr. opened the Hamptons Development Company, and they attempted to develop residential subdivisions on their land, while Hampton began as a house in the middle of nowhere. By the 1920s, Baltimore had grown substantially, and there was a market for suburban homes. Of course, opening a real estate company just as the Great Depression hit wasn't a big success, and they constantly had to sell off family possessions to pay bills, aka they pawning stuff, y'all. They having yard sales. They started having yard sales. The most significant improvements to the mansion under the tenure of John II was the conversion from gas to electric. Okay, we learned that from gas to electric. Electricity in the early days was for lighting. Now, appliances, electricity had been around for a while, but Helen was scared to death of it. When she died in 1920, John immediately set about making the transition. So she was scared of electricity. You learn something new every day. All right, so now we're down to the last and final owners before we get out here. Okay, so this is her. So remember I told y'all the whole little history? So this is her. This is Eliza Ridgely. Okay. This is Eliza Ridgely. Eliza Ridgely. She married, he had to marry his fifth cousin. John Ridgely lived until 1938. He and Helen had 7 children. And upon his death, the estates passed to John Jr. His oldest son, John Jr., had married Louise House. And they lived a half a mile west of the mansion. However, by the time he inherited Hampton, Louise had died in 1934. He later remarried to Jane Rodney. John Jr. was the last Ridgely to own the Hampton estates. By the 1940s, the place was falling apart and in need of major renovations. John Jr. desperately wanted to sell the estate, but he didn't want the mansion torn down and the surrounding grounds and gardens bulldozed to make way for another subdivision. As it turned out, a painting that hung in the house for more than 100 years would save the day. Artist Thomas Sully had painted a portrait of Eliza in 1818 when she was 15 years old. She looked older than 15, don't she? When she was 15 years old, Sully would go on to become one of the first famous American painters. He is best known for his portraits, particularly those of the United States presidents and other dignitaries. He first came to prominence after painting a portrait of John Quincy Adams and one of the Marquis de Lafayette in 1824. So his painting of Eliza was done earlier in his career and was therefore of great value. So it seems like this little picture saved the day. The director of the National Gallery of Art heard about Sully painting and asked Ridgely to donate it, which he refused. He did agree to sell it, but added a clause that the purchase must include restoring the mansion, a request that the curator could not accommodate. The National Gallery of Art had been founded by the wealthy Mellon family, which got involved and agreed to Ridgely's demand in 1947. Okay, see? So this portrait of her saved the day of this mansion being like turned down, beat up, and probably a house for somebody living now. They purchased the painting and then donated $90,000 to the National Park Service for the purchase of the Hampton Estates, which only included the mansion, any remaining furnishings, and 43 acres of surrounding land. The deal did not include the 14 acres of the home farm, the 2 acres Ridgely family cemetery, and the 2 acres along Hampton Lane where the 2 stables are located. The National Park Service was in no position to take on another property that needed renovation and only agreed to purchase Hampton if an organization could be found to manage the site. This led to a partnership between the National Park Service, the Mellons Avalon Foundation, and the Society for the Preservation of Maryland Antiquity, SPMA, with an agreement in place, Presidential Harry Truman authorized the creation of the Hampton National Historic Site, and in 1949, after the required renovations were completed, the mansion was open to the public. The park was run and maintained by the SPMA, which was paid $100,000 a year for the service. The agreement was in effect until 1979, at which time the National Park Service took over the management of the park. John Jr. and Jane moved into the lower house on the home farm and lived there until their deaths. Look, all the words are starting to run together now, child. When Jane died in 1980, okay, that's like 2 years before my sister was born. The National Park Service purchased the farm. The SPMA had acquired the land containing the cemetery and stables back in 1953. That's 2 years before my mama was born. This land was donated to the park in 1990. I was born. I was 3 years old. Today, the total size of the Hampton National Historic Site is 62 acres. It is all that remains of the Ridgely family estate. That was a lesson. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a great time sharing this with you. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. So, oh, it's late. Been on here almost for 2 hours. But hopefully you guys learned something. I learned more stuff. It was more of a refresher course. And I can't believe I sat here and did it all. I can't believe I sat here and did it all. Okay. So, I have things to do. I have some more recording to do. And I'm glad that you guys were able to join me today and you guys was here. If you're just now watching it, make sure you hit replay. Let me know that you were here down in the comments. I hope you guys learned something. Then I have to change it because the whole show was on this history lesson. But hey, why not have it? Today is Juneteenth Day. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe to the channel. Become a member of the Patreon. When you become a member of the Patreon, you're like my mini business partner, which is great. And then you get all the behind the scenes stuff. So that way you'll be able to see what's going on with the new show that's coming and all that good stuff. So continue to be great. Don't allow other people's opinions to define you. And always strive to be the best you that you can be. And I will see you guys on next week. Manifest my dreams, they wanna be.